So the latest update to Ghost Simulator brought with it a whole lot of new changes to the game. I know the focus of this update was actually additions to the crafting station and the new anniversary event in the game. But one of the main stuff that you guys will be seeing when you guys are actually playing this yourselves is going to be the minor changes that they did to the overall game progression, and how the game actually is now balanced, or at least they tried to, in a sense. So we'll be just taking a quick look at the changes that they made in the game and going over what they mean, what you guys should think about them, or at least what I think about them, and some things that you should consider when you are thinking about it, because I know a lot of the changes are going to upset some people, and it is going to be kind of hard for, I think, most people to understand what exactly they mean. And as you guys can see, this is one of the first changes that they made. I only got 3.5 million. It doesn't even show up here on my backpack, from one boss in main hub. This is intentional. This is one of the changes that they did to it. There's actually two changes that they did in this update to how you get ectoplasm and gems from bosses in the game. The first change that you guys obviously is the amount of ectoplasm you get per boss. This actually applies to main hub and Ghost World. In main hub, the cap is at 3.5 million, like I have right now. In Ghost World, it is at 1 billion. This cap is based on the most expensive pack that you have in those worlds. So here we have the most expensive pack being Distorted Pack, and that's why the cap is at 3.5 million. And in Ghost World, since you have the raid pack capped at 1 billion, you'll be able to get 1 billion ectoplasm per boss in Ghost World. These changes are very effective nerfs to the amount of ectoplasm you get from boss, which both applies to the leaderboard, but also applies to how many gems you can get from converting from ectoplasm. Since before you were able to get 50 billion ectoplasm, you're able to convert all of that into ectotokens. So you have a giant nerf to how many ectotokens or souls you can get from both those areas. But in addition to this nerf, there's actually a large buff actually that they've done to both the converters. So rather than the converters being at their old ratio of some 10 million, I think, to 1 for the main hub and 120 for the Ghost World, they'll be actually at a new rate. Over here, you can see that the new rate for main hub is basically 8,000 to 1. In Ghost World, it is going to be 34 to 1. So much better convert ratios. Overall, this is actually a significant buff significant nerf to the amount of gems you can get per boss. But it also has some other benefits that we'll talk about. But yeah, overall, this is about a 10 times nerf for main hub and about a 12.5 times nerf to Ghost World, all things considered. The main benefit, though, is that even though it is a direct nerf to how you grind from bosses, you can actually now grind ghosts in both these worlds for gems pretty nicely from the converter. So for instance, these ghosts actually give you 100,000 things, which is actually pretty much a 40th of a boss. So if you go through here and collect all of these ghosts, you'll actually have pretty close to a half a boss worth of ectoplasm just from gathering ghosts, which is pretty easy to do, and won't take you guys too much time. And so because of this, you can actually grind gems from the ghosts in both main hub and Ghost World pretty effectively now, which is actually a really nice change, since before you were unable to get any benefit from the ghosts. But yeah, that is going to be it. But again, it is a 10 times nerf, so it is a pretty sizable nerf. The one thing is that you guys are probably wondering about if you have rebirths is whether or not this makes your tycoons pretty much worthless. And actually the answer to that is no. It does mean that they are worth a little less, since you aren't able to get crazy amount of gems super easily from each of those areas, and therefore the amount of gems you're getting multiplied isn't as much. But you're actually still getting more gems per boss right now than you were getting when they first rolled out rebirths and people started grinding for their rebirths. So if you're grinding for bosses before, when Ghost World or Rebirth first came out, you're capped at the 2 billion pack size of the Heroes pack in Void, and now with and people considered that to actually be a good ratio, to be getting rebirths and then grinding, using those rebirths to get a whole lot of gems. That was actually considered a viable way to get gems, and one of the best ways at that time to get gems. And so because of that, our boss grinding is actually better than it was then. So tycoons are still worth it to get. I wouldn't recommend getting them if you don't have them already. But if you have them already, they're actually still going to be a decent way of getting gems. And again, the 10 times nerf, you have to take into account, I was getting around 400 million with 11 rebirths before. I'm getting around 40 million now, which although, yeah, that is a 10 times nerf or so, that's actually still pretty reasonable for me to be able to grind for some classifieds. It's going to take me a little longer than before, but before it was actually really quick for me to actually get the gems I needed to get a classified. So overall, it's a pretty good buff in that respect. But yeah, the only other thing that I would like to point out is with the ghost grinding being available in all the worlds, people are actually going to be, new players are actually going to be able to grind for gems really effectively. For instance, if you first get into here in main hub, you're actually going to be able to instantly convert all the ecto tokens you've been saving up from grinding ghosts and previous to actually a decent amount of gems, which basically means that new players are going to be able to use the gem converters more, be able to grind for godlies from the crates, and actually be able to progress a little bit more better in the pet progression part of Ghost Simulator, which is a really good change. In addition, they are also planning some other changes to bring back the old gem grinding that we had before, but instead of having it based on bosses in Ghost World and Main Hub, they'll be instead based on the Remnant World. So Remnant World will probably be getting a gem converter, and you'll be able to convert Remnant coins to gems. It probably won't be entirely what we had before. Probably will be, I'd guess, about half of what we had before with bosses. But it still will be a considerable way to get yourself tons of gems, and they'll probably end up adding it in the future. But yeah, that's for entire endgame. But pretty much everyone else should, beyond the 10 times nerf, should be able to grind gems pretty much easy. Also, there is some stuff that hasn't been affected by this change yet, although might in the future. That is going to be the Void, is actually the bow boss there is unaffected by the change. You're still able to get your pack completely filled up. It isn't actually all that good because you do have to wait 3 minutes per boss because you have a 1 minute wait and then about 2 minutes to do the boss sell and get back to the circle. It isn't great, and the gems you get from it is only around 13 million for myself. Should be quite a bit less for you guys since you guys aren't going to have as many gem boosts or good pets as I do, most likely. I get around 11 million from one sell of a boss in the main hub currency, so overall it's actually not too much better for me, especially once I factor in something like Ectogum. But once you also factor in the rebirths I have for Ecto Token Tycoons, comes actually pretty even with the current grinding strategies with Xgum in both souls and Ecto Tokens. So overall, this is a pretty big balance to the game. It's about 10 times nerf to grinding gems from before. But since grinding gems is actually better still right now than when most people got the rebirths, it's actually probably fine. As I said, you're still able to get a considerable amount more gems than most people were able to get before the Remnant World even came out. And so I don't think it should be considered as a nerf. I think it's more of a balance to take away the game breakingness that was the pack size increases in the Remnant World. Because if you guys know, the Remnant Worlds kind of broke the game with how big of pack size it was giving players and how those were affecting boss grinding. Also, if you look at the leaderboard, a lot of that is just because of the pack size increase. We were able to get a lot more progress on boss and stuff. Now, rather than people grinding in Main Hub or Ghost World, it'll actually still be effective to go grind in Remnant World for leaderboard, and gems eventually will be moved into Remnant World 2 to make grinding there even better. And basically the devs are trying to do this to actually encourage people to move on to later worlds rather than spending all their time in Main Hub, which is kind of makes sense because if you look at it, the amount of time that endgame people like me were spending in some of the end worlds like Remnant Zone, Bloxbite HQ, and the Void, we were pretty much spending our entire time in Ghost World or Main Hub, with a little bit of time in Backdoor for gum grinding. So now it should be a little bit more spread out based on what you want to do. If you want to go grind for gems, you're going to be in Ghost World, Void, Main Hub, or even Backdoors may be viable now. If you want to be grinding for leaderboard, you're going to be in Remnant Zone, and Bloxbed HQ is still Bloxbed HQ. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, I will be answering them in the comment section of this video. I know this is a rushed video. It's probably hard for you guys to understand everything I was saying. And honestly, I should probably have edited this video to make it a little bit better for answers for you guys. That I felt I should probably just get it out as quick as possible. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the update. I know the new event stuff is always a little bit exciting. So yeah, I'll hopefully see you guys when it comes to doing a little bit more of these events. Probably taking advantage of the 2x boss rush event we have going on right now, where times are half the time. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the comment section if you have questions.